previewing UFC on ESPN Plus 31, Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira. I'm your host, Preston Echdal. As always, joined by my co-host, Mr. Jeff Slaughter. Jeff, how we doing?
We're doing great, baby. Wednesday night, got some UFC fights on hand. Had a profitable week last Saturday.
Yep.
Looking to roll some money over, make some more money coming up for this Saturday when we can really hammer some bets.
For sure, definitely. Do you want to recap what we won or go straight into the card?
We could recap what we won. I put all my bets out on Twitter. I put out some bets, kind of early, premature that I have a little bit of money on.
Okay.
I did get robbed a few times,
yeah.
I think, with Cowboy
and
Watterson,
yeah.
which could have really turned around everything. But while we were live streaming, I've had about 6 or 7 bets that I placed, won all of them, including a 3-team parlay. Very profitable. I posted those on Twitter so y'all could see that. So, man, we had Cejudo, who came in strong.
Yep.
You called Qatar right on the money, second round. That was a big money bet. We both were in agreement on that.
Yeah, Ngannou, Hardy.
And Ngannou knocked the guy's life out within 10 seconds, I think, 20 seconds.
Yep.
That was a huge bet. I mean, we hammered it, man. We nailed it.
Yeah,
we nailed it.
Yeah, it was a great card. So, like you said, we're going to roll that profit over, and hopefully this event, surprises some people and is pretty good. It's not a horrible card, but not as name fighters, we'll just say. So let's begin. Our first fight is Chase Sherman, a heavyweight bout between Chase Sherman and UFC debutant Ike Villanueva. Jeff, what are the odds on this fight?
Currently, you have Chase Sherman coming in at minus 170. Ike Villanueva is catching plus 140. Over and under 1.5. Over minus 139. Under plus 109. What do you think, Preston?
So initially, I was gonna take the dog here, but then because his fights aren't on Fight Pass, so I had to watch them on YouTube, and Villanueva just doesn't have a lot of power, and then he's moving up in weight.
Yep.
Chase Sherman's been he had 2 fights, I think, in bare knuckle, didn't look good, but he does have good leg kicks. I think this is a stand-up fight, kickboxing, and Chase Sherman probably gets the knockout late round 2. I know the prop is 1.5. So, and the overs have been hitting. If you guys have been following that, bet UFC overs, you're in good shape. So, you can take a shot with an over here, or I do like Sherman to win.
Yep. I totally agree. I actually do like the over as a play, minus 139. These guys neither of them are too impressive. Ike Villanova stepping up in weight, like Preston said. He's not, man, he doesn't have a bunch, kind of a kickboxer. He does have a lot of pride, and, a lot of Mexican fighters do. But I don't think he's got enough MMA experience compared to what Chase Sherman has. He does have UFC experience. Has a great, pretty solid, strong leg kicks. Chase Sherman.
Yep.
Pretty tough guy. I think he can stand and bang with Villanova anytime. I think he can grapple the guy. And watch out for those kicks, because they're coming. I like Chase Sherman to win, and I like the over 1.5 as a play.
Okay, so we are in agreement with Chase Sherman on the opening fight. We move on to a lightweight bout between Omar Morales taking on Gabriel Benitez. Gabriel Benitez is a featherweight moving up to 155 for this fight. What does my bookie have?
My bookie currently has Omar Morales at minus 190. Gabriel Benitez is catching plus 155. Over and under 2.5. Over minus 145. Under plus 115. I'm going to go ahead and start this, man. I love Omar in this fight. Omar is going to be a big 155er, like you said. The guy has tons of great upside potential. His scrambles are good. He's very strong, great kicks, good striking, well seasoned. I mean, that, he's a very skilled guy. Benitez is more of kind of a banger. He doesn't have a whole lot. He's got some good straight lefts, some good left kicks. But he is a little chinny, and I think that Omar's going to clip this guy with maybe a head kick inside the 3 rounds.
Yeah, I was thinking, I wonder I don't have it in front of me, but, a Morales by KO/TKO prop wouldn't be bad. I do agree with Jeff. Initially, so my before looking at the card, my favorite looks were, Omar Morales and Drew Dober. Studying the card, I still do like Omar Morales quite a bit because technically, I think he's superior standing. This should be a stand-up fight. Benitez is going to charge, try to brawl, kind of like how he fought Sadiq Youssef his last fight.
Hmm.
But as Jeff alluded to earlier, he got clipped, dropped. So maybe his chin is a little weaker, and if he's standing in range, I think he's going to get kicked hard. A lot of leg kicks, a lot of body kicks, and
He is going to be the smaller guy.
yeah, and just moving up in weight does hurt too.
And Omar has great takedown defense, so that's not really an angle I don't think for Benavidez at all. I mean,
Yeah, I think this is all stand up.
exactly.
And with it being just a pure stand up fight, you have to take the more technical guy who is Omar Morales. You're laying a little bit of a price, but I think anything under 200 you could straight bet, and you're not too worrisome. But yeah, so Omar
Omar Morales,
Morales,
let's
yeah,
roll, baby. Okay. Next up, what do we have? Hunter Azure versus Brian Kelleher, right?
yep.
Okay, so Hunter Azure is catching minus 210. Brian Kelleher coming in at plus 170. Over and under 2.5. The over is minus 270. Under is
Ooh,
plus 210.
wow, that's a little high.
It is a little high,
270,
man.
man.
Jeez. They're giving Kelleher a lot of respect, though.
Yeah. So I do. So I like Hunter here. This was a fight pre-tape study. I might have leaned Kelleher, but when you watch the fights and Hunter, how he has looked, so he's gone to two decisions. Both fights, he's looked great. Well, not great, great, but his striking's improved. He's a big guy. He can grapple well, good wrestling, good takedowns. I think he's just going to smother Kelleher out. Kelleher does have good subs, but I think Azur is just too big and strong to get put in those situations. This line was around 170. It's been getting hit hard at 210. I still like it, but it's getting a little up there. I wouldn't be mad if you guys chose to parlay Hunter with Morales. I think both those are fairly safe, but I like Hunter a little more because Kelleher, I think, is beat pretty much anywhere this fight goes, and Morales could maybe get clipped in a stand-up like war if it's a brawl. But yeah, I like Hunter in this one.
Yeah, I agree with you and Hunter. Kelleher is a seasoned veteran. He's got a sick, very wicked guillotine. But other than that, I don't see a lot out of him that I like. Hunter, on the other hand, he's an all-around solid fighter. I mean, he's great at scrambles, great wrestler, strong striking, excellent calf kicks. Those calf kicks are strong as can be. The guy trains at Fight Ready. Um, with
Yeah,
Henry
with
C.
Cejudo, yeah.
With Cejudo. So he's got freaking, Henry Cejudo, Olympic champion, giving him tips. Not to mention the neuroscience that they use over there with the training. Dude, they're awesome. I think Hunter's gonna. I think, man, I want to say Hunter. I want to say Hunter by decision, but I could see Hunter knocking Brian out. Brian's only option here is to get him, I think, some kind of sub.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think that's his only route. And then when I say a sub, I mean really that guillotine. That's it. If Hunter's a little careless and gets caught in that guillotine, it could be over. But I'm all on Hunter, man. I love Hunter in this fight.
I agree. We are in agreement there. So we move on to the highest odds fight between Sajara Eubanks taking on Sarah Morais.
Yeah, so Sajara Eubanks comes in at minus 380. Sarah Moras is at plus 300. Over and under 2.5 minus 290. Under 2.5 is plus 230. Um, Man, I don't like this fight really at all with the odds. I can't lay money. Sajara is going up in weight. Um, So she might not be able to bully these people around like she was in the lighter division at what 125, I think. This is at 135, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so on the other hand, I mean, Eubanks is strong, great wrestling. Always going to look for the top control and the takedowns, the black belt. Marias is also a black belt. She has a good arm bar. That's about the most I've seen from her, I think. Other than that, she has very bad takedown defense. I think Eubanks has no problem here. Um, she's going to get on top of her, and Marias is going to gladly take her back and just go for the subs all fight. I think Eubanks either TKOs this chick by ground and pound or it's an over decision easy.
Okay, yeah. So this one, like you're saying, hard to lay almost 4-1 with Sajara Eubanks. I mean, she's 4-4. It's not like she's 10-0, 11-0. But she is the better fighter when she's got her full gas tank. Now that was the issue with her last fight. She was like minus 300 against Betch Kahea, and she dropped a decision because she gassed out. Now I don't think that shouldn't happen here. And Marais has, man, her striking's pretty crude. Uh, she doesn't have much grappling, but she's tough. Like I can give you have to give that to her. She's very tough. But Eubanks, I think the first round, like if I really want to take her, I would think Eubanks in round one wouldn't be horrible because, but after round one, it could get dicey if she gasses out and you could get like a split decision, sort of like the Span Alvey fight from last week where you're laying a 4-1 favorite and they're in a tooth and nail struggle, to win the fight. So it's not my favorite bet, but I would lean if I had to bet it Eubanks round one or pass. But yeah, I do think Eubanks will win the fight.
Great. Let's move on. We got the next. What is this? The main event of the prelims here. Now that
I think we got two. We have Moises and Johnson next, right?
Okay, yeah. So Michael Johnson comes in at minus 110 with Thiago Moses over minus 120, over and under 2.5, minus 203, under 2.5, plus 161. What do you got, Preston?
So this was one initially, just remembering how Michael Johnson's last few fights went. I was going to be all over Thiago Moises. I still lean Moises, but this is a pretty standard striker versus grappler type bout. On the feet, Johnson is much better. He has a good jab, good power. He's very quick. He's moving back to 155. He was at 145 for a couple fights. So maybe his stamina improves, moving, to his more natural weight. His power comes through. Maybe he clips Moises. Moises is a very good submission guy. Decent kicks. Little not chinny, but he holds his chin up in the air too much. And if this is kind of what we saw last week with sparring matches, Johnson could easily win a 3-round kickboxing match if Moises doesn't commit to grappling him, which, if I'm his coaches, I say try to get him on the ground because if he gets him on the ground, I think he taps him out. But it's a tough fight. I'm going to lean Moises to get that tap out. But as we know, fights start on the feet. And Johnson is one thing that doesn't go away is his power. And Johnson's pretty dynamic on the feet. So it should be a good fight, though.
Okay, so this will be our first disagreement. I have a totally different take here. Michael Johnson, man, he is so well experienced and seasoned.
Yeah, he's
It's
fought
insane.
everyone. Yeah, he's fought
I
everyone.
mean, on his best days, he's beaten Tony Ferguson, Andre Feely,
Poirier.
Dustin Poirier. I mean, you could probably go on and find some really good names that he's beaten. I'm not going to, but then you flip over to Thiago Moses, like Preston alluded to. He's got one way to win here. That's a submission. Other than that, I honestly don't see. I think the guy's overrated, man. I don't see a lot in him. I think his grappling's weak unless he gets on the ground. I don't think he's too powerful. He is chinny, bad defense. Michael Johnson to me is just the only way to bet, and I think I'm going to bet this heavy. I do see Michael Johnson just piecing this guy up. He's got good straights, good boxing, fast, going to be way more athletic.
Yeah, that's the one thing I gotta give it to him is he still has his speed.
And he is
Yeah.
tough as shit. He has fought some of the best guys. However, he does give up in submissions. I think like 60-70% I was calculating of his losses are from subs.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's been subbed by a hook heel twice in a career. That's pretty weird if you ask me. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he comes out and he just whips up on Thiago Moses, doesn't waste any time, and I think he gets the job done inside 3 or a decision. Either way, I actually lean the decision, Michael Johnson, but I am taking Michael Johnson for a fairly large bet here.
Yeah, it's a
and I'm
pick
just
'em,
gonna
so
roll the dice with them because I don't see anything out of Moses that I like. I just don't. So let's go ahead and move on. Andre, the big boys. Let's see. Are we getting into the main card yet? Should we pop in? We have a special guest with us, Sports Keg.
yeah, I think shoot him a text, I believe.
Shoot him a text. Where are we? Jason, you there, buddy?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Sports Keg. What's up,
Perfect.
Jason? How you doing?
No, he's here. Okay.
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Man, we're hanging in there. We're getting ready for this fight to start, and we're excited, man. You know, it's not the best of cards, and it's a little bit short notice, but hey, we're doing our best.
That's all you could do. UFC 249 was a profitable one,
Exactly.
and you try to keep it going and do it again tonight.
Yes, sir. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to the main card finally. We're going to start off with Sports Keg. So on the main card, we're going to start off with Andre Arlovsky versus Philip Lins. Lins comes in at minus 190. Andre is catching plus 155. The over and under is 2.5. Over plus 120. Under minus 150. Jason, since you just arrived, why don't we get started with you?
I think that it's Lynn's fight to lose, but Arlovsky's live here. I think for a long time, Arlovsky's chin was shot, basically, but remarkably, the last few years, his chin has improved, and you almost never see that, really. Normally, if it's gone for good. So the problem is, even though Arlovsky's chin has improved, his hand speed, his ability to stay in front of the exchanges and find the opening counter is pretty much gone. So, I mean, Lynn's been chinny himself, in fairness, but he does have an edge in the pocket now that Arlovsky is pretty much past his prime. And I think he wins the fight. That said, am I running to the window to bet him here as a heavy favorite? No. So it's a pass for me unless the price dramatically moves in Lynn's favor by fight time. I might throw a half unit on Arlovsky, but other than that, it's a pass.
Yeah, Preston.
So when Arlovsky was here in San Antonio, he had what seemed to be the best performance in years when he just not crushed, but like he really put on Ben Rothwell, and he looked very good. Then, of course, he got one shot. Rosenstruck put him out pretty clean, pretty easy. Lins, I do remember him from PFL. Some of the fights are on YouTube. He's just not I don't want to say slow, but he doesn't really put a lot of pressure on his opponents. And I want to say that's how he wins, but I think this could be a debatable decision. If Lenz could put Arlovsky on his back, I think Lenz would easily win, but I think they're going to choose to stand and trade. Their former sparring partners, or not sparring, but training partners.
Yep.
And so they know each other pretty well. I can see a pretty boring stand-up fight where if you're laying 210, 220 with Linz, you're biting your nails, kind of like how Span was last week, where, it's too close to call. And if I had to make a wager, I would take Arlovsky. But I do think Linz will just eke it out. But
so it's a dog or pass for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with both y'all. I do think Leans catches the win, but Arlovsky, he's been around forever, man. He's very experienced. Preston did allude to they were training partners, so they know each other well. The thing about Arlovsky I don't like is where he's at in this weight is I don't feel like he has a ton of KO power.
Yeah, he hasn't been like
yeah.
that in a while.
Now, guys
Yeah.
against like when he fights Rothwells and things like that, yeah, he does look faster. But you put him against anyone else, he's not very fast.
Yeah.
And then you got the other side of Lens. The guy's coming off winning $1 million for PFL. Like, what's his main incentive to fight here? Is he? I don't know, man. This is a dog for pass for me, but I do like the over here, guys. But over 2.5 at plus 120. I could see these guys just trading all day and kind of making it a sparring session. Arlovsky doesn't want to take many more knockouts because we know he is a little chinny. So he has been more precautious, been working on his boxing a lot more as of late. And I think this goes 3 rounds decision. Plus 120 over 2.5 is what I'm rolling with. So with that being said, we're moving on to the next main event, which was canceled, I believe. Vettari versus K. Robinson.
Yeah.
That was X.
Yeah, Roberson missed weight.
Roberson, yeah. Why did he miss weight?
He probably just didn't want to cut the extra 2 pounds, and then he said he felt ill today after forfeiting 20% of his purse to Vettori. Vettori ran up to him in the hotel, shouted a bunch of expletives at him. Kevin Holland then said, "Put me in." Even though he's fighting Saturday, he was going to fight today and Saturday. Dana White nixed that, so Vettori is out of fight again. I know that was a lot of people's favorite looks.
What do you think about, Jason? What do you think about UFC fighters missing weight?
I think it's extremely unprofessional, to be honest.
Exactly.
I think that I think they have a responsibility to the fans, to their opponent, and to the organization to be a professional and make weight. And if you don't, it's a really bad look, and fighters take it personally. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Well, so we're going to move on then. That's what we're going to do. We're going to move on to Ricky Simone versus Ray Borg. Ricky's coming in at minus 170 or minus 170, and Ray's coming at plus 140. Over and under 2.5. Over minus 310. Under plus 250. Preston, who do you got?
So initially, when I first saw this line, I was shocked. Borg has looked great his last 2-3 fights. Just putting on a grappling
clinic.
Yeah, clinic. Yeah, great word there. But if you dive a little deeper, he is moving up in weight from 125 to 135. You can make the argument Simone's most clear-cut, like great win was against Ronnie Yaha, another very good grappler. But Borg doesn't just use jiu-jitsu. He wrestles, and then he gets into advantageous positions, just winning round after round, gain the back. He's looked very good. He's a shorter guy, smaller guy. Simone wants to just keep him on the end of that jab. This is tough because I can read it both ways. Hard not to take a plus 140 with Borg with the way you look, though. This is another very tough fight. I really only have one look on the whole card. So I would be dog or pass, because when you have a great wrestler who can get the fight where he wants, I love that. So I would take Borg. And Simone, he got dropped by Faber, came back, got out kickboxed by Rob Font. Borg isn't a kickboxer per se, but
and he got taken down at will with Font. It kind of seemed like, and Font's not known for
Font's more of a striker.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I would take Borg plus 140.
Sports Keg, Jason, what do you have?
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this fight, man, for a couple days. My partner at Sports Keg MMA is on Borg. He took the plus money, and I get it. I understand. I get it. But I have a soft spot for Ricky Simone, man. I like him a lot. He is great at absolutely nothing, but his gas tank is freakish, and he has no fear. So, he'll grind you out for 15 minutes straight on the mat without taking a breath. However, Ray Borg is the more technical wrestler for sure. I've not been a fan of Ray's striking game. recently. I think it's looked average at best. And another factor is what you guys said earlier. His gas tank seems limitless at 125. But when he fights 135ers, he has been drained before really bad. His gas tank has not looked great at 135. That could potentially be a huge issue when you're facing somebody the likes of Ricky Simone, because his gas tank never ends. So I think that if Simone gets in the minus 125 range, if Ray Borg takes a lot of money, I think maybe I would take a shot on Ricky Simone. But I would probably, at this price, it's hard to not go with Ray Borg the way he's looked his last 2 fights. So I agree, probably dog or pass.
Yeah, man, this is probably the toughest. This and the next fight are the 2 toughest fights for me on this card. Listen, like you just said, both of y'all just said, Ray Borg is by far the more technical wrestler, one of the best scramblers in the damn fucking whole MMA. I mean, his scrambles are just phenomenal. The guy is. This is going to be an exciting fight, man. Ricky, I don't think is going to be as acceptable to being knocked out here, like you alluded to. Sports Keg, Ray don't have the strongest of hands, although we haven't really had to see him throw a whole bunch of hands. But then you look at Simone and you're like, man, Faber knocked this dude out. Faber's not known to knock people out. This is a tough one.
In fairness, Faber was getting destroyed until that knockdown.
He was getting destroyed, absolutely. Ricky is coming in the more physical guy. You know, he with his physicality and his gas tank, he could just take the abuse and roll around with Ray Borg all fight. I mean, although you did allude to Ray Borg gas tank at 135, I don't know if he's lost at 135. Has he? Has Ray Borg gone up in weight and lost? I mean, his last 2 135ers, he pretty much dominated at will still.
I would have to check.
Well, I mean, he lost 135.
135.
Right. I was going to say flyweight. He lost to Mighty Mouse. The Casey Kenny fight, I'm 99%
he dominated
sure.
Kenny at 135.
Well, he lost the fight though, but he got the decision.
He should have got the decision.
Yeah, because that was just a grappling fight, and I had Borg. Borg was like minus 190, and Kenny, that was his first fight.
I mean, this is just so hard for me, man. I would flip
and his cardio.
Yeah, and his cardio. I would flip a coin and be on y'all's side. Ray Borg. I'm probably going to lay a unit on Ray Borg. I just like Ray Borg. I think he got a lot of heart in his scrambles, and it's going to be a fun fight. One of my more exciting fights to watch. So with that said, we're kind of all in agreement there. Let's move on to the next fight. Also a tough fight. We got the hometown San Antonio kid where we're from, Alex Hernandez, facing off with Drew Dauber. Drew Dauber's coming in at minus 135. Alex is up to plus 105. Over and under 2.5. Over minus 165. Under plus 135. Sports Keg, what do you have here?
Drew Dauber right now, is he really all the way up to minus 135?
He is up to minus 135. Yes, sir. That is
wow. I think the fight comes down to a couple factors. What version of Alex Hernandez do we see? I was really, really high on that kid going into the Cerrone fight. But do we see the guy that was super aggressive but ended up getting worked over by Cerrone, or the guy that fought Francisco Trinaldo? Because the guy that fought Trinaldo was way passive. He barely engaged. I had a big bet on Hernandez. If I'm being honest, I thought he lost the fight.
We did too.
If I was scoring that fight, I would have given it to Trinaldo, and I watched that fight 3 times.
We had Hernandez, and we also thought he lost the fight.
So there you go. I mean, he's facing a really good veteran in Drew Dauber, who is coming off a ridiculous win against one of the prospects in the UFC that I'm highest on, which is Nasrat Haqparast. Now, his power striking game has been locked in, man, for like 2 years now. So his problem, though, is he is vulnerable to being taken down and worked over. So if we see the Hernandez that can just get takedowns at will and spend most of the fight in top control, I think he wins the fight. But if we see the Hernandez that fought Trinaldo, I think he's getting knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And that's the question that needs to be answered. So I bet Drew Dober at minus 110. My partner at Keg MMA went on Hernandez, and I get it. I understand. It really comes down to which Hernandez do you see? If you see one, Dober wins. If you see the other, Hernandez probably wins. I'm just really impressed with Drew Dober over the last 18 months. So I got him at a better price. I wouldn't give him out, though, at minus 135. So, oh, man, I would hate to tell somebody to bet Hernandez when I'm on the other side. But I think at the price right now, the only look is probably Hernandez, even though I'm on Drew Dober at minus 110. Actually, minus 107. So that's it.
That might be a fight you want to double dip in, huh? Dude, I'm telling you, man. I agree with you pretty much all the way around. Alex Hernandez has some of the biggest question marks by his name in anyone in this division. We haven't seen necessarily enough of him because we don't know. Every fight's been so different. I mean, he goes from knocking at Dariush to, beating the Canadian gangster to kind of getting dropped by Cerrone and then looking like he didn't want to fight versus Trinaldo. I mean, it's just the weirdest sequence of fights for him.
Yep.
And then for him to be ranked is kind of seems like a lot of pressure on the kid for hasn't really done much. Alex is a good wrestler. We know him kind of personally through San Antonio and the gym, Ohana Nation, that we know some people that train out of there. And we know firsthand that he is a gym rat like no other. The guy has the unorthodox stance, which I think can cause trouble for Drew Dober the way his movement is. I think it can cause timing issues. I'm banking on Hernandez trying to use his wrestling, and he's a true brown belt jiu-jitsu. I just got a text from Amy Smith, who trains over at Ohana Nation. He told me Alex is a true brown belt jiu-jitsu guy. So that's cool. And I think that helps him if he gets it to the ground. However, you go over to Dober, who's been on a mean streak lately, has tons of knockout power, very experienced Muay Thai guy. Man, and he trains with Gaethje, for God's sake. So you got to think that his takedown defense, wrestling, grappling, all that stuff has been improving. The morale in that locker room has got to be on an all-time high, which helps him. Man, I don't know what to do here. I'm going to let Preston before I give out my pick because I might need some convincing.
Yeah, so initially, before I even saw a line, I loved Drew Dober in this fight. Like Jeff said earlier, we sort of know Alex Hernandez. We had an interview with him. We spoke to him on the phone. He said he was talking to us about his coaches, and his coaches were telling him to not be as aggressive in his this was before his last fight. So we knew he was going to have a more passive game plan against Trinaldo, but not to the extent that it happened. His coaches said he was leaving himself open too much and being too vulnerable standing. So his plan was to do pretty much what he did. But again, we didn't think it would be that not exciting, and we agree. We thought he lost the decision. So hopefully he went back to the gym, shored up some things, and just got his aggression back. Because if he doesn't, I completely agree. I love Dober here. He's looked good, and he got tapped out by Beneil Dariush, who's a better jiu-jitsu grappler than Hernandez. Yeah, Hernandez should be able to control him against the cage, take him down, and maybe try to lay on him. But I think, as we all know, the fight stays standing, and if Hernandez is just lackadaisical, not committing to strikes, I think Dober gets him out of there.
Well, and Dauber's naturally, he's foughten up in weight. He's kind of the bigger guy, too. He can, I don't know if Hernandez, man, I'm going to just do this because he's the hometown kid. I'm going Hernandez. I'm not gonna have a lot on it. I'm gonna enjoy this fight. Probably one of the more exciting fights of the card, definitely in my opinion.
If Hernandez,
But if Hernandez comes out and can wrestle this guy, I think he really has a live chance, and I'm gonna flip the coin with Hernandez. Let's move on to the next one. We got Big Ben Rothwell versus St. Preux. QSP's coming in at minus 140. Big Ben is coming in at plus 110. Over under 2.5, minus 104. Under is minus 126. Sports Keg, kick us off.
Yeah, I hate this fight. It's a mess. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me at all. Ben Rothwell really hasn't looked that good since he came off the suspension from USADA. He's slower than I remember. His power doesn't mean much when you could see that punch coming from like 4 blocks away. That being said, OSP doesn't excite me anymore either. So, I mean, he moves up the heavyweight, I think for the first time ever, but I would have to check that. And we know that OSP is always to catch a Von Fluke choke submission victory. But I mean, you know, we've never seen him pull a Von Fluke choke off of somebody that has the girth of Ben Rothwell. I think that it's a sloppy decision victory for whoever wins the fight. I think OSP has the speed advantage. Rothwell has the power advantage. OSP probably stays at range and tries to beat Rothwell from the outside. But, you know, he does not have a gas tank really past about 7 or 8 minutes. But we've known that for years. I think it's probably a dog or pass spot, but OSP would have to take a lot more money before I can take Ben Rothwell. I think maybe if you see Rothwell in the plus 150 range, I think he's worth a shot. But I'll probably bet over 2.5 rounds at minus 110 because I think they get there. And Dave at Sports Keg MMA had a great bet, which I like a lot. Over 1.5 rounds, minus 175, parlayed with over 1.5 rounds at minus 175 in the Teixeira Anthony Smith fight. I think that's a great bet because I think both those fights have a good shot to get over 1.5 rounds, maybe even 2.5 rounds. So for a single bet, I'll go with over 2.5 rounds, minus 110, and that parlay also.
Not bad. Preston, what do you think?
Yeah, so initially I had a pretty strong position on OSP, mainly because OSP screwed me when he tapped out Lord Olajaychuk. He was getting his ass handed to him for the first round.
Yep.
And then second round comes and Lord just can't defend a choke to save his life. So that was a very, very, very bad fight for me. Rothwell, like you were saying, he's looked pretty poor since coming back. He beat Struve by groin shots, I want to say. He didn't really do a whole lot there. And then he got pieced up and outboxed by Orlovsky pretty convincingly. So tough to really like Rothwell. I mean, what's he going to do? Catch OSP with a knockout? I don't.
That's his only way.
Like, I don't really understand this fight. OSP, like a 205er, moved up, weighed in at 241. So maybe he's been eating a lot or putting on the weight healthy, hopefully. I don't know, because that's I thought he'd be 225.
That's enormous.
Yeah, so he went from 205 to 241, which is a pretty big jump. Maybe just to combat the size of Rothwell. Who knows?
How's that going to affect him in the 3 rounds?
Well, like you were saying, the gas tank, is he going to be out after 1 round?
And he's never had a gas tank to begin with, so
yeah. So I think the advantages more lie with OSP, but I would not bet this fight.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, OSP by far is going to be the quicker, more athletic guy. Although he does have pretty weak cardio. He's, all around pretty decent MMA guy. Rothwell to me is just, yeah, he's got the heavyweight knockout power. One punch can put out anybody, but man, he looks so bad. His last 2 fights, I just cannot get behind him either. I'm going OSP. That's the way I'm leaning at 140. I'll take a shot with it. I also like the over though too. I think St. Preux keeps us outside, keeps his distance, pieces him up with those kicks. I think he does what he can just to survive and stay away from that big right hand of Rothwell.
Yep.
And I like the over too. You get on my bookie right now. The over is actually plus 102 now. So the over just
there you go,
plus 102. So not a bad bet. And that gets us into the main event here. We got one of my favorite fighters, underrated guy in my opinion, Anthony Smith. I love Anthony Smith, way underrated in my opinion. Versus Glover Teixeira. Anthony Smith is catching minus 200. Glover is plus 160. Over and under 2.5, minus 105 over, minus 125 the under. Preston, what do you have?
Yeah, so I love this. People are saying, "Oh, Glover's on this 3-fight win streak. He's looked so great." What? Am I watching something different? He's gotten hurt against Carl Robertson, a middleweight, and he got hurt bad by Ian Cutelaba and almost finished. It's not like Glover's coming out there dominating these fights. He's getting cracked and he's getting hurt. Anthony Smith is much better than Carl Robertson and Ian Cutelaba, standing and especially grappling. Now, Glover should have a bit of an advantage if he can take Smith down and control him, but he's slowed down tremendously with his power, with his boxing ability, his speed. I think Smith is a lot longer, rangier, good elbows, good knees. My worry was, before this fight even happened, was that story when Smith had to beat up that
intruder.
Yeah, the crackhead or whoever.
The method.
Yeah. So I got a little worried when that happened, because when you watch his interview with Helwani, he seemed to be like
startled.
Yeah, like a little like out there, like not mentally like checked in. So I'm hoping, he's there ready to fight, because to me he checks all the boxes. I think Smith knocks out Teixeira like round 3, and I don't want to say it's like super safe, but I like Smith quite a bit here.
What do you think, Sports Keg?
I agree with everything you just said, and he was also almost submitted, seconds away from being submitted in the first round against Nikita Krylov.
Yep.
Well, like basically, me betting on Glover Teixeira fights for like the last year and a half has just not been a good proposition for me. I just have not had a good pulse on him at all over that period of time. I mean, he's won fights that I thought he would lose, really. I do think that he has some attributes that can trouble Anthony Smith, but I just don't trust that Glover can pull them all out of the bag consistently enough to beat Smith at this age, 40 years old. It could potentially be a dangerous fight for Smith, but he's looked really good the last 2 years, man. And even in his fight with John Jones, he did some things that impressed despite the loss. I think that Smith needs to avoid being knocked out initially. If he could do that, Teixeira usually flips the switch and tries to clinch against the cage and take him down. If Smith could stay at range and avoid the takedowns, I think he should do enough to win the fight. I would not bet him at minus 200. For like 2 hours, he dipped down to minus 155, and I caught the dip a couple days ago at minus 153. I'm happy with that price. At this point, I think Smith is probably a parlay piece, unless Teixeira takes some serious money close to fight time, because I don't know, minus 200 I'm not completely comfortable with, but I do think it goes over 1.5 rounds, So I think the parlay with over 1.5 rounds in the Rothwell fight is a good play. And I do think that this goes over 2.5 rounds also. And I agree. I think Smith gets the job done probably at some point later in the fight, probably third or fourth round. So I have Smith at minus 150. I have that parlay over 1.5 that I tailed Dave on. And then over 2.5 rounds, I think is a solid bet.
Yeah, man. Glover Teixeira has been a good MMA fighter for such a long time. He was he has some of the best jiu-jitsu in the entire division. He is awesome. His striking's good, just a good all-around guy. He has been declining rather quickly. And I honestly think Anthony Smith is going to take a page out of John Jones's playbook and use that front kick a lot. He's going to kick, use his legs to keep Glover away. If he does get taken down, Anthony Smith's a true black belt as well. I mean, he's an underrated but true black belt jiu-jitsu guy. He's
been in grappling tournaments.
He's been in grappling tournaments his whole life. His record is long as heck too. I mean, he's got so much experience. I think he's the more tougher guy. He's got the length, good jabs, front kicks. I think he's going to catch Glover with the flying knee or some kind of knee to the gut. I think he's going to catch Glover, and I like Smith in this spot. I'm going to take him minus 200, no problem. I won't even flinch an eye.
Yeah, my only worry is, and the main event dog.
Yeah, the main event dog rules, and we said this last show.
Yeah,
and sure enough, we both go against Gaethje, and he wins. Preston and I have been keeping track, and we'll probably put this stat out later. But dog main events are
the last year
insane.
And a half. If you just bet dogs in the main event, you're hitting at least 55 to 60%, and you're hitting a plus 300, a plus 250. And it's fight nights and pay-per-views. After Poirier beat Holloway, he was plus 235. We looked into it more seriously, and just blind betting the main event dog, it's stupid how profitable it is. It's stupid.
I mean, Smith looked great. He went to Sweden and beat
Gustafsson plus 265.
Plus 265.
Main event dog.
And Gustafsson, I think he's probably a better, more technical striker than Glover.
Gustafsson's better than Glover. Yeah, and Gustafsson pieced up Glover and beat him bad.
And Smith sat in the pocket with Gustafsson and took him down and beat him, pounded him out. I mean,
yeah, when he finished him, he did it pretty convincingly.
Yeah. So I'm all over Smith there. I like Smith's length. I like his strength. I like his skill set. Glover is deteriorating to me. He has been, arguably could have lost the last couple fights.
Well, my deal was people are acting like he didn't get hurt. He got hurt bad against Robertson. He got hurt bad against Kutalaba.
And I was on Robertson. I was the happiest man alive when he dropped him. I thought the fight was over.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I texted you. I was like, this is bullshit, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, man. Yeah. So I'm all over Smith. I'm probably going to make a decent sized bet on Smith. I'm pretty confident in Smith. And I like it. So, not as confident as last Saturday with Cejudo, but Smith is pretty close. I won't put the mortgage on Smith, but I do like him. So that wraps up our show. Sports Gag.
Bets,
oh yeah. Let's do the best bets real quick. Go ahead and start with you, Sports Keg. What do you have? What's your best bet of this card?
Oh boy. I think Anthony Smith probably the safest play on the card now that Marvin Vettori is not fighting. I like the over 2.5 rounds in the Ben Rothwell fight a lot. So I'll go Smith and over 2.5 rounds in the Rothwell fight.
Great. I like that too. What do you think, Preston? What's yours?
So I've only locked in one play. Hunter Azure. I got it at minus 185. I think that's my personal best bet. I think he controls the fight anywhere it goes, barring a miracle submission from Kelleher. I think Hunter just grinds him out, TKOs him, decision, whatever. So 185, that's what I got. It's around 200. I still think he wins, But like you said, could be a good parlay piece. Maybe him and Smith. Who knows? But Hunter for sure.
So okay, I like that. I also love Hunter as well. I have a I like Michael Johnson here, guys. I know y'all probably think I'm crazy,
But you got yeah, you got
at minus 110, dude. I gotta hop on the more experienced guy.
Cake. Who do you like in that fight? Did you do any look at it, John?
Very, very little. I mean, we basically know what Michael Johnson is. I think he probably has the advantage on the feet. And if you got him at any kind of dog price, I totally understand why you're on it. I didn't bet the fight though.
Okay. Yeah, I personally thought Moises, but Jeff loves Johnson here.
Yeah, I love Johnson, and I also have a three-leg parlay. I'm gonna go ahead and play. It's Azura, Morales, Omar Morales, and Michael Johnson. $100 will get you 330, 338. So 3-1. Not bad. I like that. And I'm probably gonna lay it. I mean, I am gonna lay it. I already have it locked in, so that's what I'm doing. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Fights come on. Preston and I will be on later tonight for a live stream. We hope to get Sports Keg on for a couple fights, possibly if he's down. What do you think, Sports Keg? You gonna be down?
I'll try. I have to run out. I'll try to make it on for a fight.
Okay.
I have to run out though for a couple hours.
Well, no sweat, man. You pick what fight you want. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Natural Heights. If you suffer from stress, anxiety, joint pain, PSD, insomnia, headaches, can't eat. I mean, these guys are awesome, man. Arthritis. They take care of everything. CBD company, Natural Heights. You can catch them in San Antonio, 1880 Nacogdoches Road. And we look forward to UFC Fight Night Wednesday. And good luck, everyone, on your wagers.
Yep. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sports Keg, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, boys.